Welcome back to JMC Live. At the break, you heard Miranda share about being introduced to her first husband. You heard about how someone in the family didn't think it would have been a proper marriage. And then you found out that she shouldn't have ever possibly even met him. On the night of their marriage, he's covered in vomit in a hotel room as he started drinking. You heard how they moved into the grandparents' home of her husband, and they didn't stop any of the cussing, the yelling, the beating, the throwing. Now here's another part of the paradigm shift of this man. He was originally going to church with her, and then he decided he wanted to drink more. He can't tell me what to do. The next step, I don't want to go to church anymore. In fact, I'll let Miranda tell you what religion he decided to follow. Miranda?
Well, after we got married and the abuse started happening, he starts revealing to me that he practiced witchcraft and basically Satanism. And he had fooled around with that. And how I know that is absolutely true is because he had actually carved a pentagram into his dresser in the bedroom. So I'm sleeping in a bedroom with a pentagram carved in the dresser. The walls are painted black and there's red curtains hung. So basically I'm in this painted black room with a pentagram carved in the dresser, and this man is beating me. I tried to get away, yes, but I couldn't. He started saying, if you leave, I will kill you. And he specifically says, I will kill you and I will bury your body in the State Park Woods area in Ohio, and nobody will ever find your body. And I will kill you because your family loves you so much and it will hurt them more if I kill you. So it wasn't just about making me suffer. It was about making my family suffer. I mean, that's how twisted he really was. He wouldn't allow me to listen to any Christian music. I couldn't have my Bible out when he was at home. I had to read my Bible in secret. I felt like I was living in China or North Korea or someplace like that where you would be persecuted. You were being persecuted because you had a Bible. I read my Bible every day while he was gone. I didn't have a way to get away. I didn't have a car. We were out in the middle of nowhere. And the only phone in the house was right by where his grandma always sat, and I couldn't talk the way I wanted to because there was no privacy. And like I said, if I said anything bad about him, then they would yell at me. So I was trapped. And one night, I remember in particular, he had hit me and he had pushed me around, and I said, I'm leaving. I packed I got my purse, just a little bit of things, and I was going to walk in the middle of the woods down this road. I was going to walk until I could get to someone who would help me. And he looks at me and he says, if you get out on that road, I will get in my truck and I will run you over. And the way he said it, I knew he would. And I wasn't going to give him the pleasure of killing me just to hurt my family. And so the abuse went on. Every night he'd come home from work, he'd drink his beer, and then he'd beat me or he'd rape me. But he would never beat me to the point where the bruises were on my face. He made sure he hid the bruise. They were either under my clothes or emotionally. The bruises were mentally and emotionally inside of me. One night, however, he was going to go driving in his truck after he had drank all this beer, and he was going to go to the store, and I said, no, you're not. And I grabbed his keys. And when I grabbed his keys, he says, you give me the blanking keys. And I said, no, you're not going to kill somebody just because you want to get out there and be stupid. And so he grabs me, he throws me up against the side of the refrigerator, and he literally picks me up off the floor, and he slams my head over and over again the side of this freezer, this refrigerator. And he throws me into the kitchen, and he grabs a knife, and he holds it at my throat, and he says, I can't really say what he said, but he said, "I will kill you if you don't give me the keys." And he twists my hand where he almost breaks it and makes me drop the keys. And I don't know what happened. Somehow he didn't go. I don't remember. And then after I got the keys, he threw me across the floor. And I slid on their hardwood floor. And I slid across the floor and I hit my head on the leg of the couch. In front of his brother and in front of his grandmother and his grandfather, he did this, and no one tried to help me. And after he was done with that, I ran into the bedroom, and the only place that I could go. The other thing that I don't know where he got this in his head, but he wanted us to have a baby together. And I knew if that happened, that would be the most horrible thing ever. This child would be so messed up and have a horrible life. I could not even think about bringing a child in this world with that man. And I started praying. Like, I kept praying. I said, "God, either change him or make a way for me to get out of here. I can't talk to my family. I can't tell them really what's going on because I'm being watched all the time." And so when he started saying, we're going to have a baby, and I said no, the rapes start happening every night. Every night I was being raped. I can't remember how many times. And he kept saying, "Why aren't you getting pregnant?" He started yelling at me, "Why aren't you getting pregnant?" And he said, "What are you doing?" And it was like he knew. He just assumed I was doing something, which I was. I started praying that God would make me barren and I would not be able to conceive a child. And I prayed this, and I said, "God, I know you can hear me. I know you see me struggling through this." And I was reading my Bible. I just started Genesis, and I was reading all the way through. And when I got to Psalms, Psalms, I feel like half of Psalms explains everything I went through. And so when I started praying this, then he started saying, "Why aren't you getting pregnant?" Every month after, week after week, month after month, I wasn't getting pregnant. And he finally said, "You're doing something." And it's like I wasn't scared anymore, because I knew he could kill me. But at the same time, I knew God was in control. God can only allow him to do so much. If God wanted to let him kill me, he would have already done it. But I knew if I was going through this much abuse and this much persecution, God had a humongous plan for my life and had me marked for some special purpose. And so sometimes this strength from I don't know where it come from would rise up in me. And when he said, "Why aren't you getting pregnant?" I just opened my mouth and I said, "Well, I've been praying that God would make me barren." And I don't remember if this is when it happened, but when I said that, he dragged me into the room and he started raping me. And one other particular time, he grabbed a pair of scissors and he pointed the end of the scissors right at my throat, right my vocal cords, and he held the end of the scissors at my throat, and he says, "If you move, if you fight me, I will kill you." Meaning if I fought him to stop him from raping me, he would kill me. He had the scissors right at my throat. And he said, "And if you keep fighting, I'll cut myself to make it look like you did it and you'll go to jail." And so I laid there and let him rape me as he held the scissors at my throat.
So how did you get away from this man? The abuse continued to get worse.
The
Satanism. Share a little bit about the Satanism.
The thing I knew, it came to a point where I knew he was possessed. He was demonically possessed because the demon within him revealed itself to me. And One evening in particularly, I took a walk. There was some woods. We lived in a wooded area near a state park. And one evening, I walked up into the woods and he followed me. And I turned around, he's standing there. And he starts yelling at me and swearing. And he grabs me. And he's screaming at me, and he's, throwing me, and I start, and out of nowhere, I start thinking, I know, God, this is not just a physical attack. I know it's a demonic attack. God, help me. And the first thing that came in my mind was this song. And it was, I will praise the Lord. And the song is about Paul and Silas being in prison, and they've been beaten, and they're in prison. And they just start praising God while they're in prison. And the song goes, I will praise the Lord no matter what tomorrow brings or what it has in store. I will praise the Lord.
Well, we're going to take a break.
Yeah.
And we're going to play this song for everyone. And we'll play majority of the song during the break. For those of you that are on the podcast, you can look up this song.
Yeah. When I started
we come back.
Well, let me finish real quick. When I started singing the song, he starts throwing me across the ground. I have dirt covered all over me. And he throws me, and I'm still singing the song. I'm just singing the chorus. And he starts screaming, stop singing that! And it was just the most terrifying thing I've ever heard come out of somebody. And he threw me like I never felt power before. He threw me across the ground, and there was a rock, and I remember hitting my head on that rock, and everything went black. And I'll share what happened when I woke up, and we'll share the song real quick. Be right back.